This phone right here is the brand new Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, an exceptional phone to say the least. However, what is really the difference between it and this phone right here, the older version Xperia 1 Mark IV? And do you really need to upgrade? Well, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly that and a whole lot more. Alright, so on the surface, these phones look like pretty identical, not totally the same. There are some, differences, but both of them have like a really slick and a beautiful design. And Sony, you get in my books one like big plus for design, like that a whole lot. And on the back of the phone, you can see what obviously intrigues my, interest the most, the cameras. Both of them are equipped with a 60mm wide-angle lens, a 24mm ultra-wide-angle, and then a true optical zoom from 85 to 125mm. However, in the newer version, there are some upgrades and goodies I'll talk about soon. They also both have a 35mm headphone jack, and another thing that they have is this shutter button right here, and this I actually like a whole lot because it like really feels like you're actually like using a real camera, and you just have a little pointing shoot and doom. It makes the experience of photography I like it, Now you can obviously see that the Mark IV is, quite chipped by this point. I use this a whole lot as my personal phone, and it is a little bit prone to chipping. I'm not quite sure with this one yet. I haven't dropped it, yet, but I think that I would advise you to have a case on them. Now, where these phones, differ the most, it's on the inside. You see, the Mark V boasts a brand new next generation X-T image sensor for mobile, and that allows it to offer double the sensitivity of previous Xperia models. It also has a 15% faster CPU speed and a faster GPU clock speed for all of you, nerds out there. On top of that, it's also equipped with a CMOS sensor, dual tone LED flash, and probably some other goodies that they've managed to, put inside. Now, I think it's important to note here that the new image sensor is only available on the 24mm lens. The other two lenses are the same as on the previous model, the Xperia Mark IV. Now, another cool new update Sony has made to the Xperia Mark V is that they've made it more beginner friendly when it comes to taking photos and videos. On the previous models, they focused a whole lot on the, the seasoned photographer. And I noticed that there are a whole lot of beginners that got a little bit intimidating by the Pro mode. And by the way, both of them are equipped with this incredible Pro mode, which basically allows you to get so much control of your camera. It's basically the same control as I get on like a big alpha camera. You can, you have so much control. You just leave it at that. It's incredible. But as I said before, now they've been focusing a lot on the basic mode and the auto mode, making it more user-friendly. So you can really just whip out the phone and, by just holding in the shutter button, you take up the camera, boom, snap some photos, and they turn out great. Another thing I also think is worth to note is that both of these phones are equipped with autofocus that I've never seen on smartphones before. It's, the same autofocus technology as you see on these big Sony cameras, which is also known for being on the top of the line. We're talking things, like object tracking, eye autofocus, and real-time tracking as well. Pretty neat on a little small device like this. Apparently, the Mark V has gotten a little bit of an upgrade to its autofocus. Now it's powered by AI, and it should be even faster and more accurate. But in my experience, this phone has, it's superb. Another upgrade that you can find on the Mark V that you don't find on the Mark IV is S-Cinetone for mobile. So basically, with just a click of a button, you can now get this beautiful, flawless appearance as soon as you hit, the record button. I like this a whole lot. I film a whole lot with S-Cinetone on my alpha camera, and now it's available also on my phone. That is not available here on the old version. And then another update the Mark V has that I just can't wrap my head around why it wasn't on the previous models is that now the UI on Photography Pro and Videography Pro, it turns vertical when you turn the vertical. On this one, it just stayed horizontal the entire time, and it was driving me nuts. Now, it's probably not gonna make you a better photographer, but it's, definitely a better user experience. Now, when I was doing the research on this video, I noticed that the main camera is not only, equipped with this new image sensor, but it's also, and this is pretty nerdy and I needed to, email Sony a little bit back and forth to get the clear idea of this. But apparently the main camera is now actually a 52 megapixel camera that is then downsampled to 12 megapixels. And that's one of the reasons why when you use the 24mm lens on the newer version, it turns out so crisp, Now to me, this is the main upgrades, and it sounds really good, on paper. However, when you take the phone out in, real life, would you actually see a huge difference? Well, let's, pack, I don't know why I'm moving my hand so much, but let's get out and put them to the test,
Alright, so as you can see, we're currently outside and the plan is very simple. We're gonna take a lot of photos using both of these phones and then we're gonna compare them. And just for the fun of it, let's throw up a few photos side by side and see if you're actually able to spot which photo belongs to which of these phones.
And while you're trying to figure it out, then let me tell you guys about today's sponsors, Motionary.com. This is where I get my video templates, film burn effects, and a lot of other digital assets. For instance, using Motionary, that's how I'm able to do these vintage overlay effects that you see me do all the time. And you know what I really like is just how easy it is to find whatever it is that I'm looking for due to the vast library of assets. For example, with these film burns, I simply just drag them on top of whatever clip that I like, change the blending mode, and then I add a sound effect that I also find on artlist.io. And voila, I have this really nice effect that was incredibly simple to do. And by the way, no lying, did you manage to figure out which photo was shot with which phone? Did you see a big difference? There actually is a little difference and I'll talk about it in a second, but before we do that, then let's also see if you're able to, see any difference between the videos this phone can, film as well. Now, I'm not gonna lie, filming with the Xperia, it's a very, simple, straightforward, and a quite enjoyable process. And before I forget to, then I just want to thank Motionary for sponsoring this video and, helping me to create better videos in a very simple way. In the description, my friends, you can find a link that gives you $50 off your yearly subscription. And you can also find a link to artlist.io. That's where I get all of my music and sound effects from. So when it came to the videos that you've just been watching, how easy was it for you to, see any huge difference? Was there any difference for you? I don't know. It's, eye of the beholder is the beauty. That didn't make sense. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But anywho, let me know in the comments down below and we'll continue with the video.
Now, I'm not sure which side you thought were, the Xperia 1 Mark V and which was the, the older version. But if you guessed the right side, then you were totally right. right. Those photos were taken with the Xperia 1 Mark V. And to my eyes, let me just put the camera down and I'll tell you. Now, when you're comparing the 24mm lens that has this new image sensor, you can definitely see that the images are clearer and better. The Xperia 1 Mark V can also photograph with less ISO than the previous version, so that also makes the images a little bit clearer. But what also surprised me that the images that you take with the 60mm and the 85mm, I also thought they came out a little bit better on the Xperia 1 Mark V. Now, I'm not totally sure what it is right there. Just if you throw them up side by side, there's just something about the colors are a little bit richer and I think they came out better. The dynamic range was also a little bit better. I don't know, what do you think? I think that both the tones are a little bit richer, a little bit better dynamic range and just overall slightly better quality. However, due to the new image sensor the Xperia 1 Mark V has, the low-light capabilities it offers, it's quite remarkable to say the least. So when it comes to nighttime photography, it should really smash the previous model right there. But again, if I throw up the photos side by side, are you really seeing a huge difference? Let's wait till the sun goes all the way down and let's see. Alright, so I just want to show you guys that it's really dark at the moment. I'm getting a little bit of light from this light bulb over here, but in this direction that I'm shooting, this is not a daylight shot by any stretch of the imagination. This is dark, my friends. Alright, so I'm coming at you here from my camper van. I'm currently parked on a parking lot in the mountains of Norway, and I don't really think that I have to specify exactly which photo belonged to which of these phones. The Xperia 1 Mark V has exceptional low-light capabilities. It's not only the new image sensor, but it's also some sort of AI magic going on here. I mean, even at high ISO levels, it's still creating smooth photos when you're shooting in auto mode and using that, night shooting settings. But just for the fun of it, let me know in the comments down below if you saw the difference in the nighttime mode. Now, although I'm impressed by the camera capabilities of both of these phones, they're definitely not perfect. Nothing in this world is really perfect and there's always room for improvement. And one thing I wish Sony would improve in future models is that making the optical zoom lens, which is a game changer, in the first place to have that, but it is a, little bit on the softer end of the spectrum. But if you do know how to edit photos, you can sharpen these images in post, and I'm able to, get pretty decent results that way, at least in my opinion. So if you're having a hard time deciding which one of these phones is the perfect fit for you, then next you should watch this video right here, where I go over all of the new features the Xperia 1 Mark V has.